Welcome, welcome, welcome. Kicking it with Coach K podcast. We're here on episode 48. I'm back with Coach Small and Coach Johnson in the house. I hear Coach Johnson from DSP is going to be popping in with us here throughout our shows and just kind of giving his insight, coming in to update us on what's going on with DSP. Obviously, a proud sponsor of the show, and we obviously appreciate everything you're bringing to the community. So glad to have you back on. Coach, we ain't had you on in a while. It's good to see you again.
Same. Thanks for having me.
We're going to dive into some topics today. First time we had you on was kind of like interview style. We had Coach Johnson on way back too, had interview style. We got to jump into some topics. It was pretty fun. There's some things that in coaching that are kind of still prevalent to talk about throughout because we're trying to maybe get growth or push things to a different time or kind of get back to some old ways of doing things, so to speak, or maybe new ways of doing things, right? So we'll talk some subjects in there. And then obviously I'm big on the, I call it barbershop talk, right? The sports talk where we can have some fun on the show. There's a couple topics that I wanted to talk about today. There's a certain women's basketball player right now that, everybody's talking about. We got some thoughts. I want to talk about it. There's a lot to that, though, so I want to kind of dive into that. Men's volleyball just got approved a couple weeks ago in Michigan. We haven't really touched on that yet. Want to get your guys' thoughts on that. Just a couple other things. So before we dive in, the show is brought to you guys by Brain Jerk Entertainment, Kennedy Health and Wellness. If you have not heard, these guys just did the second 8-bar cipher, and they're actually bringing it live to the Juneteenth celebration. Make sure you guys check that out. That's next Wednesday. And there's been all types of information that we've been sharing about that. So it's right here in Monroe. Make sure you go check it out. These guys will be down there. I hear there's an eating competition that they're doing. I believe it's a pie eating competition. These guys are obviously notorious for the different crazy events and fun stuff, and obviously the eating competition. So, and the Brain Jerk experience coming soon on Telegraph. That's going to be a little bit of some different things. I don't really want to say too much because I feel like there's a lot of exciting plans, and I don't want to be the one to kind of pop the exciting plans yet. But I do know that's coming soon. Make sure you guys stay tuned on Brain Jerk's social media pages for the update on the Brain Jerk experience. This show is also brought to you by Kennedy Health and Wellness. We just dropped our summer stuff. The only other thing I want to say too is we're excited that we started a new partnership with Mini Mitten Pediatric Clinic, and we're excited for that. We actually have like building block Lego wax melts that my wife kind of came up with creatively, different colors to represent neurodivergent children and awareness. And then every jar we sell of those, whether it be online at a show, will portion of that will go back towards them. And then they'll also have some in stock at their place. So we are excited for that. Shout out to you, Mini Mitten. This show is also brought to you by Amaya's Fresh Mexican Grill, The Little Brown Jug, Lane's Pizzeria, IWR, All Hard Athletics. Special shout out to All Hard. They take care of us here big time. Monroe County Sports Network. Also want to give a special shout to them for everything they do for our athletes. Joyology, 8 Mile Vodka, Backroad Baggers, Smoker Society, Spooky Films, Nerdy Designs, Evolve Coaching Clinics, and, of course, Diverse Sports Performance. Thank you, Coach. Actually, before we dive into, I saw you posted something yesterday. I want to get a quick update from you before we dive in. Okay. I do want to say this real quick. The Evolve Coaching Clinic, which is March 21st and 22nd, 2025, is rolling right along. I know we've been doing a lot behind closed doors. I haven't said much, been quiet on social media, but I just want to let people know we're working through a lot. We're looking for different sponsors and vendors. We're still actually finalizing our speakers. I got some exciting announcements coming soon. We got I'll just say this. We got like coaches coming from Michigan State, and we got some different stuff in place. So this time around, it'll be a lot more invested into this clinic for us coaches. So it's something that I'm really excited about. And also offensive athletics. So they are I think they sponsor D Mills. Shout out to D. He's been on the show before too, but they are going to be coming on as a sponsor for the coaching clinic in a major way. And I can't say exactly just yet. We're working out details, but I want to say I appreciate them. They'll be helping us out run the clinic. So again, if you're looking for information, if you want to speak at the clinic, we're accepting applications for that, vendors, everything. Just reach out directly. Coach, before we dive in, what do we got going on with DSP that you just posted?
Yeah, let me I got it.
Go ahead.
So yeah, our summer hours just came out, and they are going to be 1 second. I'm ready for this question yet, but
And that's over on Detroit Ave for
Yes.
those who are wondering. DSP, Diverse Sports Performance, and that's over on Detroit Ave. And again, so before, not to interrupt you,
No, you're
Coach,
good. Go for it.
but this is for athletes of any sport. And Coach got options for different age groups, different specific options for your training. But there's just a ton to do over there. So whatever you're looking for as an athlete, I highly recommend reaching out to Coach and scheduling something over there because, again, there's literally something for everybody there, no matter what you're looking for.
Yeah, so we got our new summer hours. We got open scheduled sessions from 12 to 1.
Okay.
And then again, we got an open schedule session at 2 to 3. Then another one from 5 to 6. And Mondays, we got our Rogue, which that's the weightlifting, which my son be running. We have the Rogue Rack on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we got our jug machine. So you can come in for half an hour.
Right.
I think $30. You catch up to 300 balls on the jugs machine. Then we got our Vertimax session, which is going to be on Thursdays and Tuesdays at 3 o'clock. So yeah, we got a lot of different stuff, like you said.
Options.
We so basically it's not just a sport. So somebody reached out to us and say, well, my kid played this sport. So we don't just generalize one sport. We feel like it all can help everything with the, just being explosive, powerful, quick, speed.
Right.
So yeah, that's what we focus on.
And just to the listeners, like I can attest to that because I've seen Coach train within camps and I've seen the pictures at DSP and we've seen who the groups at DSP are and all the above. And I'm telling the listeners, man, it really is a great place, man, because of, and when I saw that the other day, like I saw that kind of as like the next evolution. I was like, look, they're getting into it now. It's getting like you when you first start something, you're kind of settling in, getting used to it. And you kind of get out of that stage eventually where you're like well oiled and rolling. I feel like you are like well oiled and rolling at this point.
We trying to get some high class stuff, you know what I mean? So that's just what we focus on. We got Desmond Williams. He was just in the other day.
Okay. Shout out.
So he told us he was jumping the box jump. He was getting up to like 40, like 44 was his highest. The other day he got up to 56.
All right,
it exploded. Boy, got some bounce.
Yeah, there we go.
So yeah, that's what we focus on, man. We just trying to do the old school but new school ways of things.
I love that, man. And you definitely get that vibe in there from the coaching style. But then that's one thing I love too. Like some of that stuff you use in there, the Vertimax and whatnot, like that stuff's huge. And technology has driven me nuts in certain ways, but I'll be honest, as far as training and developing, it's been amazing for us coaches. Time in 40s, testing verticals, like training, just all that stuff has become so I hate to say it like this, but more not easier, more efficient.
Yes.
It's become so much more efficient for us. Easier, but then that makes us more efficient, right?
Because with the Vertimax, we can train 5 kids at once.
That's right. And I hate to say it, but I feel like when you're doing stuff like that, instead of trying to calculate stuff the old school ways, you're able to coach more. You're able to act because the machine or whatever you're working with is actually helping you to where you can actually focus on the technique, which is huge. But all right, man, let's jump in, guys. So I appreciate you guys coming on. Again, student athletes, this can all be found on Diverse Sports Performance social media. So they post to that, whether it be videos of them in there or the training schedule for this week. That's all on the social medias, and we'll drop them again at the end of the show. Quote of the day: we cannot become what we want by remaining who we are. And that's so I'll be honest, I don't know who the first guy to say that is or gal, but I'm a big fan, and I might take heat for this, but Coach JB, Jason Brown, he was on Last Chance U. He was the real kind of erratic one that everybody watched on Netflix. So I've had the pleasure of having a few conversations with that guy, actually. And when you get to talk to him, he's a little bit like, you understand where he comes from more than just watching a cut up Netflix show that's trying to get ratings, so to speak. And he was who I heard that from, but it hit with me hard because whether it be business, coaching, going through the next step in your life, everything, we just talked about before the show with your kids entering sports and whatnot, you got to be willing to do different things, right? To become something you want to be, whatever your vision is. You cannot wake up today and do the same damn thing. Absolutely. So same with DSP, you're trying to evolve it into the vision that you have long term too, right? And every day that has to be a little bit more of what can we do better? What can we do different? So that's why I chose that quote today. Again, we cannot become what we want by remaining who we are. Our read of the day is Power versus Force. That's by David R. Hawkins. I believe he has a PhD. That book, so I read that book a long time ago, to be honest. It's been a while, but in a nutshell, that book is about, it's another one about building a mindset, a mentality towards success, towards doing things every day, just kind of creating an elite way of thinking. And when I say elite way of thinking, I just mean buying into what you're doing, committing, detailed, discipline, doing the things that you, to me, that's like the elite way of thinking, the Tim Grovers of the world, right? Like that to me is like, okay, that guy's on a different, up here, he's on a whole different wavelength than the rest of us. Like, I want to get where that guy is. So that's what, we're chasing that. That's a great book though. Older book. I think it's like $10 on Amazon if anybody wants to check it out. So Coach, how have you been since the last time we seen you?
I been going with the flow. I started my second season. Fortunately, it didn't end the way I anticipated it. But I've just been chilling. My boy, he's starting his sports things. I was telling Devin earlier, he tried out for travel soccer. Has never played before and made travel soccer team. So I'm in my sports mom era. Yeah,
right.
He's
an athlete.
Era, so yeah.
Tell me about that. How excited are you for that era?
I'm nervous because I'm one of those obnoxious parents.
You're gonna be the side, or
I'm gonna be the mom that's like getting
the bleacher parent.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I like it.
So I told him, I was like, listen, do whatever you want. We can try everything as long as you're trying and committing to the whole season. Like, we're gonna do it. You don't like it, we're not quitting mid-season. Like, you're gonna have to stick it out, and then if you don't want to play next year, you don't want to play, and that's just how it is.
Can I just give you some props for that? Because that's the way it should be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we've gotten like so far lost on that to, you had a hard practice. It's okay. Just quit and find something else to do. No. Like, damn, you ain't even give them a chance to see if you really liked it. Like, you don't even know. They might have just had a bad day.
Right. Yeah.
So I actually think that's super cool. I think I fight that with football. Like, I try. I'm still fighting. I got to send texts out every day to try to keep kids engaged.
It's hard to keep them motivated.
But again, a lot of that's the parents, right?
Yeah.
The problem is parents think they're being mean by telling their kid, you have to stick this out, without thinking about, like, this is bigger than soccer. You want to create habits within your kid to like commit and finish something, right? Even to me, so I've done things in my life that I didn't like, but I finished them.
Right.
And I may have moved on eventually, but there was a certain point where I felt like the job that I was supposed to do there was done. And then it was time to move on.
Right.
But I believe in that. That's big. Shout out to that. Parents, we gotta take notes on that one. Cause
do a little bit better sometimes.
Yep. All right. So one thing I want to kind of dive into, as far as, we talked a lot of basketball last time, and this is kind of going to be a heavy subject for a little bit here today, but I came on here a couple weeks ago, kind of gave my opinion on basketball today. The finals are going on right now. We just had the college, which, hold on. One thing I wanted to say I was confused about, and I've not said this yet anywhere. I was confused about how the girls had their tournament and then turned around and got drafted like 2 weeks later and then started a season. Like, I was dumbfounded by that. I was like, how does that work?
That's how it always ends up, because their season
is
different.
Crazy.
They play
but they just expect the rookies to like come in and just be bodies wore down, don't care. And then they complain when the rookies aren't performing up to standard. But I'm like, damn, they just went through a whole season. What? I honestly thought that was insane. I was like, that is. When I saw the draft, or the Fever were going to draft Clark and all these projections and whatnot, I was like, next week? I was like, and then the season starts right after that? Insane. Yeah. But so I've kept up with the women's basketball the last probably 2.5, 3 years, because shout out to Jarvis Mitchell, but Coach Jarvis over at Wayne, he's got several girls that he sent to South Carolina and different places. And I'm not going to lie, by being friends with him and used to coach with him at Wayne Memorial, I coached football there, but he, just by that kind of friendship, I'm always rooting, right? I'm always rooting for Romulus, rooting for, wherever my people coach, whether it be when you were at Huron or Monroe or wherever people are at, I'm always rooting for, I want to see people succeed. But that to me, so I've gotten really into that with all that kind of friendship and all that. And the last couple years has been, and I guess I really didn't notice that the last few years about the draft, but the game to me has gotten better. And I still watch the men's game, which is crazy to me. And the men's game's gotten worse. Now, this is just my opinion, but dude, the NBA playoffs have been the worst thing I think I have ever watched in sports history. And the finals have been okay. But like, man, I think the NBA dudes have gone soft for real, and I think the girls,
so hard to watch
I think the girls have gotten tough.
I'm be honest with you, I ain't watched one playoff game this whole season.
I
ain't
see,
watched a
but
basketball
why?
Game. Well, mainly because of the gym. I mean, the gym all the
Makes
time.
sense, right?
But I don't know. It just don't appeal to me no more.
But see, you would take time to watch a football game in the fall, right?
Yeah.
It depends. So it depends who it is though. Like Alabama, I'm watching them.
Right.
If it's another football game on, I might turn it.
Did you, out of curiosity, did you ever watch basketball like you watched Alabama, or not really?
I used to.
Okay.
Not anymore.
So
yeah.
see something.
I was a big Geno fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love those type of coaches.
Goat.
I
He's one of the
love
goats. He's
those
on Mount
coaches.
Rushmore.
So I like the girls' UConn basketball team.
Yep. It's gotten, the NBA has gotten.
Honestly, I think the difference is that the women are still so fundamentally sound.
Yeah.
That it's fun to see that, but the men, everybody just wants to score. Like
Yes.
you don't see no defense, you don't see any of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference, and that's why traditional basketball fans are like,
They're kind of
into it
migrating
more.
to the
Yeah,
girls a little bit
yeah.
right now, for real. They're like, hey, this is a better product.
yeah,
That's kind of what I thought. Like, I was like, now the college tournament was still pretty fun to me, but even the college tournament, like, there was a lot of, it's the game style was similar. It's a lot of threes. It's a lot of no
Mhm.
defense. I'm watching, no disrespect, because shout out to Oakland, but I'm watching Oakland JUCO kid come out and just hit 43s on Kentucky and beat them. And
right.
it's like, man, and I'm watching Kentucky not really D the dude up after he hits
Right.
the first 8. Like, same with, Luka hits a bunch of threes in the first 3 minutes the other night, and they don't run any defensive adjustment.
Yeah.
I'm watching the game like, listen, I'm not an NBA coach, but at this point, I might be able to qualify for the job,
Yeah.
because all we need to do is change something here. Like, this is kind of crazy that. And then to me, I'm like, but we wonder why NBA coaches get fired every other week too. Like, I don't know if they're not allowed to coach, if their players have too much power and they can't coach. I don't know if they
There's
just
too many
don't want to
divas in
coach.
the
Yeah.
NBA right now.
And it's more. I think it's more for entertainment now
it's
than it
entertainment.
is
Like
for the game.
WWE now.
Yeah.
Seeing the
Yeah.
girls are different.
Yeah.
I think the girls care more.
Yeah.
I think they still because they still don't get paid like they should,
And they're still playing for the love of the game.
Playing for the love of the game.
Do you watch games regularly in the WNBA?
Not this season I have, but
Right.
usually I don't usually have the time to watch the TV. So
They don't. I don't really either. I don't watch any sport except football. I'll be honest, all game
Right.
long. Football, I'll sit on a Saturday like a slob and just tailgate and sit in front of a TV. Like, football's great, and Sundays.
yeah.
But I have a hard time watching baseball all the way through. Again, it's just I'll admit a lot of it's because busy life, right? And football season that's my thing. So that is my busiest. So for me, watching football is part of that's just part of the art to me, right? Baseball, I'm like, oh, now I'm missing this, and no offense to baseball or any other sport, but I feel like I've tuned into basketball more. And one thing I think that is contributing is like, our stars in the NBA sit out for anything.
Oh yeah.
Anything. Like, we got dudes sitting out for like ripped fingernails,
Right.
like hangnails, like literally dudes sitting out for chest, not chest, but coming out for, certain soreness where you're like, yeah, man, everybody gets soreness.
Right.
Knee soreness. Okay, you're an NBA player. Is it a tore MCL?
Right.
No. Is it soreness? Okay, well, ice that thing and let's rock.
Are you
3 days
hurt
in a
or are
row.
you injured?
Right.
And I feel like
Right.
that's the old question. I still hit kids with that all the time, coach. Hey, because listen, y'all know how it goes. So when a kid comes up to me and they're like, coach, I'm feeling this, or I'm hurt, or whatever, we have an athletic trainer. She's phenomenal. So I tell them, I'm like, look, you hurt or injured. If you injured, go see Lauren. If you hurt, let's put some ice on that thing, wrap it up, and let's get on with this, whatever we're doing. But I feel like that is a big part of it. I feel like we just kind of have allowed the NBA to get like that, and the NBA is trending the other way, or women's sports in general, or basketball especially is. But it's been kind of crazy to watch that, honestly. I think the product's actually better. I think the game also, the women are just on a different style of game right now.
Yeah.
There's inside presence. Angel's a beast.
Yeah.
There's outside presence. There's shooters, there's scorers, in the NBA, we just got a bunch of dudes trying to shoot the whole damn game and play no defense.
And that's what, when I was on last time, that's a lot what I talked about. People just expect the men's sports to be better. I'm obviously going to be biased on a lot of, but I think that women's ball has always been
a better product.
Better, yeah. Because like I said, these women are still playing for the love of the game, and they're just getting paid to, do what they love. So it's not all the showboat, all the fanfare, and all the crazy.
Exactly. And a lot of people, to piggyback that, probably don't know, but they've had 26 straight seasons in the red financially.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first season that they're actually on pace to profit in the WNBA. A lot of people don't know that, and that's what's crazy. That's what's honestly crazy to me. That's why we talk about it on the show often and whatnot and bring people on, because it's kind of like a disgrace that we haven't, it's been a good product and we just don't. It's kind of like, honestly, boxing went through this for a long time too, where it's I don't know why it's not doing well. It's still a decent product. It just, for whatever reason, people are really into certain things like football and men's NBA basketball, and it's really hard to get them to switch. But then you have certain faces and certain people that come throughout time, the last couple of years in women's basketball, and they've really changed it. No offense to the Diana Taurasi's or any of them, but this group of girls has kind of fundamentally elevated them. They're about to profit for the first time. That's insanely awesome.
They should.
Yeah.
And that's great. And they should. I agree. They should profit every year. That means we need to take our butts and go watch more games, or tune in here and there, or, get a streaming service to make sure you watch games. Or they're talking about bringing a team back to Detroit. I think that'd be phenomenal. They can't. So I don't know if y'all heard the crazy story. They can't bring the Shock back, but they can bring a Detroit team back.
So they would have to rename
the Shock. So somebody bought the trademark or the ownership or something he owns the name of the Detroit Shock. So he don't have a team. He don't have none of that, but he owns the name and will not give it back out. And it was, I read this article, and it wasn't like one of those, parody websites. It was a real Metro Detroit news website. And I was like, wow, that's pretty insane. Never knew that, to be honest. But yeah, the Shock cannot come back. But I did hear Detroit would like to bring a team back, which I
find
think
a different car part.
Yeah.
Right.
Plenty of them, I'm sure.
Right. Well, we already got the Pistons, the Shocks. Just pick one and let's roll. Right.
Detroit Engines.
The Detroit Engines. That was to finish this kind of topic up. That was something I heard the other day, and I got in an argument, actually. I very rarely get on arguments on Facebook, but I took my time on this one. I was like, we're going to have this conversation. Rasheed Wallace came out and basically said that the 04 Pistons would beat the was it 17, right? Is that the year? The 17 Warriors? Or was it 16?
Could have been both.
That Golden State team. Yeah, that 72 Golden State team. I thought that was 16 or 17. But he said they would beat that team, and he don't think there's a lot of teams today that could. Rip said in 6. He said, ain't no way they get 7. I was like, you know what? The game.
I can see it.
To me, it depends, though. One thing I would have to say, and I think you might have touched on this. Somebody touched on this on the show. The rules would have to favor the old squad.
It has to, because they couldn't.
Because it would be fouled out, rap, free throw line.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Rasheed would have 3 technicals and 8 fouls in the first 32 seconds.
It's like a flagrant. What's a flagrant?
What you mean? I just came down on his head.
Like he's not scoring, right?
But honestly,
no, that's
in their prime in a parking lot. Oh man, they
parking lot, they get
the Pistons. The Pistons getting.
I think, but in today's basketball, I don't think the Pistons have a chance.
They wouldn't have enough scoring to last in today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, part of me says that, and part of me is like, I don't know. She'd shot that 3. They would have to change their whole mentality as a team.
They would have to lose some fundamentals.
And that would. And see, that sucks even saying that. They would have to lose some fundamentals. That's the problem with men's basketball right now. they would have to lose fundamentals. My favorite player growing up was Tim Duncan, for real.
Oh my
Same.
God,
I
Mr.
love Tim
Fundamentals.
Duncan.
Same.
Loved him. That's why, man, he
Man, listen.
and I've had that argument numerous times too. The GOAT conversation, even the big men GOAT conversation, never includes him. And I'm like, y'all forgetting about somebody real quick.
Because he's fundamentally sound.
Right.
Like
Not
everything
fun.
he does is the
Right.
right way to do it.
Shaq was
People-
fun, so they're gonna
Yeah.
talk about
Right.
Shaq. Shaq was dunking on people, making fun of people, joking. And I'm a big Shaq guy
Me
too,
Right.
but
Tim Duncan was.
A
I
beast.
used to hate him because I never liked to, like, call him
Yep.
a Shaq fan. But I'm telling you, Tim will pump fake, up and
Yeah.
under on you.
It's averaging double doubles
Yeah,
this last season.
man.
Like
Crazy.
after playing 20 years. Like, yeah, no.
Did
He's
that
definitely up there.
in that 05, y'all remember the 05 series? The Pistons lost. They won in 04, then they went back in 05, and Big Shot Bob hit that game winner on Sheed. But I remember just watching that whole series and being like, man, so the Pistons played the Lakers in 04, shut Shaq down, slowed Shaq down, shut him down enough to win the series. And then the next year, we let Tim Duncan and Robert Horry just beat the hell out of us. I was so upset. I was
Yeah.
like, why? Why did this happen? Kobe and Shaq couldn't do it, but Robert Horry and Tim Duncan did it.
Fundamentals.
Yep.
Fundamentals,
Beat him
man.
every time.
Yeah.
And then money time when it's time. Everybody can make fun of Big Shot Bob or whatever, but he got 7 rings and a bunch of game winners
Right.
on his resume. So, but let's.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things I want to come back to, but I want to stay on this topic with women's basketball just for a minute here. So obviously there's Caitlin Clark and the whole situation going on. Obviously everybody likes talking about it. Everybody's posting about it. On every show, everything you can think of, they're talking about it. So the only thing that I want to know is like, what's your thoughts on how she's being treated as far as everything going on? How should she react? I'll give you a couple of my quick thoughts. I do think she got snubbed by the Team USA. I think that was so. And my only catch to that is I don't know if she's one of the 12 best on that team yet, but she's definitely one of the 12 most recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're trying to grow the sport of women's basketball and capitalize right now, I'd say this respectfully, but I think you got to use her image as much as possible.
Right.
So for me, that was kind of wrong. I didn't really like that, that they snubbed her. I thought that was kind of like maybe a direct thing to, not on no race shit, but on a direct thing to maybe piss her off. You know, you're the
Mhm.
newcomer type of stuff. Because a lot of people are making it about something else, which I don't think the snub was about.
Right.
I think it was more of a like, we're kind of tired of you,
Yeah.
and we're gonna, and you only been here a month. We don't really want to give you this. But I do think she deserved it because I think if you want to grow the sport, you need her around right
Yeah.
now. All of them. I think a lot of the young ones have been treated wrong for that. You know, I seen Angel take a hard hit, a real hard hit one game. I've seen a couple of the young people get hammered, and I don't know what's going on,
So,
but
my thing is, I feel like the fans didn't put too much pressure on them.
Yeah.
on
They
this
didn't-
young
they
group,
didn't put targets on their back saying that they are the future of basketball.
Mhm.
They are the ones that bring basketball back. So when you say that, right, you got to go to the
Yeah.
WNBA and play these girls.
Yeah.
that have been there
These women.
5-10
And
years.
they're not happy with that,
Mm-mm.
right?
That's
That's
true.
like you being a starting quarterback and this rookie coming
Yeah.
in
He's
who's
thinking he's hot
phenomenal.
shit. Yeah.
Because
Right.
what everybody says,
Hey, shout out to Drew Bledsoe.
Exactly.
Tom Brady.
Exactly. right? But they you've been playing with a bunch of kids basically. Now you with the
Mhm.
grown-ups. Now we about to give you, like in college, you will get your way.
Yeah.
In WNBA, you're not. I feel like people just putting too much on them. Let them play basketball. Like we
So you
shouldn't have-
feel like it's a target, but it originated kind of
originated
from the pressure.
From
I'm
the
gonna
pressure.
say,
I
I don't
see
think
that.
she's getting any other type of rookie treatment.
No.
Than, like it.
No, I mean,
Is it normal? I mean,
Yeah.
is that-
Yeah, at all levels.
you don't.
Yes.
So Clark's not taking any more.
I mean, granted, there has
She-
been
yeah.
some that I'm like, all right, y'all are doing a
Yeah.
little bit too much, but I
but
don't think.
but my thing with that is they did that to Jordan. I mean, they did that to Curry at
Right.
first. I mean,
Yeah.
before they couldn't get away
They
with
do
it,
that,
but
but
they do that to anybody who starts getting
Exactly.
off like that because they don't want to stop. That's what I hate to say it, but I just said about Luka. Like, damn, do something.
yeah,
I don't care what you do. Get physical. Bump the dude. I don't care if you got to give up 2 fouls. Go put your 12th guy in and let him go
Mhm.
get 2
Yeah.
quick fouls to go rough Luka up
Right.
once or twice. Get the
Yep.
ball out of his hand. You know, I watched it and a lot of people are making it out of a lot of different shit. And I'm like, I think some of us are thinking too much into it, but the All-Star thing, I'm not gonna lie, man, that one got me. I was like, oh, how you gonna leave?
Yeah.
How you gonna leave the stars
You know
out?
what? Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. No, you go ahead.
I think a lot of her being left off of that too is a lot of the rookie
Yeah.
treatment too. Like she came in number one, you know, all that, and I kind of she kind of gives off that she thinks her shit doesn't
Yes.
stink. a
Oh,
little
she
bit.
talks mad shit.
Yes.
So
does.
People
between
don't know
her
that.
attitude,
Yeah.
and coaches are like, I
Yeah.
don't have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Like you, I mean, all these other women are making or play and making just as much money as you are.
Yeah,
Sit down, humble
Yeah.
yourself a little bit, and then maybe next 4 years
I agree with that.
she'll be on the squad.
I think that's part of it too. I
Yeah.
think she talks more shit than we know. And I'll be real, she was probably talking shit on draft night
Oh,
as
yeah.
she was
yeah.
coming.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna shoot the lights out of this
Yeah,
league.
she
I'm a
was.
ball because of that overhype too,
Yeah.
though, to a degree.
It's
Everybody
gotten to
told
head a
her
little bit too.
you're gonna come in and score 30 a game.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
averaging what, 16 or 18. She's decent, but
Yeah, she
nothing.
decent, but it's the WNBA. You're
Right.
gonna get the best women in the world.
Right.
That's
You're not
the
playing
other
against
thing.
Indiana's
Nope.
and Michigan and Michigan
Right.
States no more.
Also, maybe the talent in the WNBA and WNBA is better than what the average person thinks.
I tell you,
Wholeheartedly.
Like maybe Caitlin Clark is pretty damn good, but so is
Everybody
everyone
else.
around her
Everybody
right
else, yeah.
now.
And I was watching this. I was watching Stephen A. Smith today actually on YouTube, and he was saying something. But it was a girl on there who averaging like 30 who got left off the.
Yeah, 20. It was like 28 points a
20, yeah.
game or
So
something, right?
That right there, like to let you know.
I forget her name. It was hard
Yeah,
to pronounce,
she
but I
was a
remember that.
baller averaging
Yeah.
28, and she got left off.
Right.
And they looking at it like the money thing.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take your best 12. You can't say, well, we want her because of the publicity, and I don't think they should give that to her. Right? She should earn that.
So
Right.
that's the debate.
Yes.
That's the ultimate debate, right? Is if we want the game to be as popular and maximized, she's got to go. But if we want to win the gold and give ourselves the best chance to win the gold and win this thing, she can't go.
Let's be
Right.
honest, they're gonna win the
I'm not
gold.
saying
I
I
would say
disagree
they've
with
been
you
there-
They
anyway.
won it the
Last-
last 7 years.
Right.
They're
Because
not
I
gonna
also
lose
know that
gold.
when she
Right.
steps on the court, no disrespect to her, I know she's a baller, but she's an absolute liability on defense.
Yeah,
oh,
like an
goodness.
absolute,
Wholeheartedly.
and she
And
was a
playing against-
liability at Iowa.
And playing in the Olympics is
Right.
you getting the best, and like she don't know what kind of athlete she's
Exactly.
gonna play over.
She's gonna hit
from-
those Russians
from
and those
Russian, and
Germans.
them girls are different.
So I've heard. Tell me if I'm, because y'all just said this and kind of like you just said that in a nutshell. I've heard that whereas other sports were kind of like if we go play football in an Olympic, we about to wipe the whole damn
Yeah,
field.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Our men's basketball most of the time goes in and does. I've heard though that women's basketball is pretty damn good around the
Jeez.
world.
Oh my
Like there's
gosh.
some actual
Oh my
real
goodness.
ballers.
Yeah.
It's insane.
See, and I just
And-
heard that. To be honest, I just heard that within like the last couple weeks. I
A
heard it
lot
on
of
a
them-
podcast
A
actually.
lot of them make a lot more money. That's why they want
Mhm.
to come to the WNBA.
Yeah.
So that's
that's why they stay
why
overseas,
so a
that's
lot
why.
of them
It's
go
some over that can.
That's
come
why
and play.
Griner was headed to Russia,
Mhm.
right, to go play
Yeah.
overseas. That's crazy. That's
But I ain't gonna lie,
wild.
I love where women's basketball. I actually was talking to my wife today. We're gonna go. We in Vegas in August. We're gonna go watch a Vegas game.
That's sweet.
Vegas Aces.
The Aces, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. We're gonna
The
go watch one of
Aces.
them games. So
That's awesome, man.
I like
That
where women's
that's
basketball
cool to
is
go
going.
support. Yeah, I mean, it's harder without us having a team and location
Mhm.
super close, but I'm not gonna lie, man. I've watched especially the college. I watched a shit ton of those college games. South Carolina and
God.
Coach
God.
Staley,
God.
absolutely just a blast to
Yeah.
watch. Gene and his teams, blast to watch. And then you got some random girl popping up from Iowa that balls out, right?
Mhm.
And that's fun to watch. And like I bought into all of it for
Yeah,
real.
you gotta-
I bought into the whole you had the twins at Miami that were
Yeah.
balling. Like I can't remember their names off
the
the top.
Juju Watkins and
And then you had
Juju.
she's gonna be
Juju's
her.
gonna be next,
And then
dog.
I have to say,
Juju's a beast.
oh shoot, what's her last name? Audie. She played at Iowa State.
Okay.
Big girl, freshman.
Yes.
She's like
Yes.
6'4", big.
I seen
girl.
huge,
I think I
right.
do know who
Audie
you're talking
Crooks.
about. Yeah,
seen her,
I
yeah.
do know you're talking about.
And then you got the little girl from UConn.
Paige.
Was it? Yeah,
Oh,
Becker.
Paige Beckers?
Becker's
Oh,
a
yeah.
beast too.
She stays healthy.
Which
she's
I
gonna be
kind of
nasty.
found funny. Maybe that was it. I kind of found funny how like we were all like a lot of people knew who she was, and then Caitlin Clark kind of came along, and
Mhm.
some of these other names, and like everybody forgot about Paige. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, she's a beast too.
Yeah, Paige is nice.
But it is really exciting because we're now sitting here like I'm not gonna lie to you. I can talk more about knowing about more 5 or 6 WNBA or college girls basketball stars than I can the men's.
Yep.
Like, I'll be real, I don't know nothing about them dudes.
Same.
I know Luka looks like he out of shape and hits a lot of threes.
And he wear number 77.
And he wears 77 for some weird reason.
77.
And I know he looked like he got the slowest just movement on a basketball court ever, but he still drops 40 in height. So that's how I know something's wrong.
Right.
But I just thought it was I just thought it was an interesting topic. I don't think anybody necessarily like has it out for her. The only thing I would say, to be honest with you, and I heard Matt Barnes say this, I know Matt Barnes was in the NBA for years, right? But he was the infamous guy who tried to inbound on Kobe, and Kobe just blinked at him. And that was Matt Barnes. But he had a great point when he was like, he said this week, he said, where the hell is her teammates, though?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where the
Because there's no way I'm getting my ass kicked like that.
They letting her just get whopped and just sit there.
To be honest, they probably like go through this because you come in here, you the face of our team.
But to be real, if I'm her, I might go straight Allen Iverson at that point. I may just, y'all ain't shooting the damn ball. Y'all gonna let me get hammered, not pick me up, because I'm taking every shot. Because no offense, but like on her team, she's the asset. Ain't no other assets on that team. They're bad, and they've been bad for like 3 years now. And the coach, to be honest, I hate judging coaches, but just in my opinion, she's doing kind of an average job at managing this situation. And I don't mean she needs to baby Caitlin. Like, she don't need to do that or nothing. And I don't even mind her being like, hey, man, let her toughen up and go through it. But also, like, all these moments, I'm like, why ain't you on your team about, like, rallying? You should be protecting the asset. Like, you should be at least picking her up. Shit in football, man, that's our number one rule. Like, help the dudes off the ground. Get your quarterback off the ground. Actually, don't let him hit the ground, but, you know, get your homie off the ground. Like, so that, to me, is the only thing that I feel like where I kind of do feel a little, I don't want to say bad because she grown and she asked for all this. So I don't feel bad, but I am kind of like, where the hell are your teammates?
We're throwing a bow. You're coming down.
You know what I'm saying?
You're catching one.
If I'm her, I'm going ruthless. I'm hitting everybody. I'm shooting every shot. I'm just like, yo, you ain't going to help me up? I guess this next shot is mine too.
Yeah.
Because, again, when AI was playing, I mean, what are we about to do, man? Pass to Eric Snow? No offense, Eric Snow, but AI, you might as well just take that shot if you want a chance to make it. I don't know. It was one of those things, but that's I do like your point on that though about the All-Star game or the not the All-Star game, but the Olympics. You kind of gave me a different perspective there that I didn't necessarily think about how while she may bring attention, because that was kind of my first thought is like, do what's best for the attention of the game. Let's keep building it. Kind of almost business first, but then the coaching side of it is like, nah, she's been in the league a month, averaging 18 a game. We just snubbed somebody that scores 30 a game.
Right.
So how's she going to get in? Which I'm not going to lie, I kind of want to see the roster if we snub somebody scoring 30, because that's wild that we have that. Like, damn, we got that many good. And I believe it. We probably do have that many good WNBA players now, but like, that's crazy good. And I've seen Taurasi's on it at 42.
That's
like, we talk about LeBron, and I'm not saying
that. I think that.
But 42.
I think that could be like a player's coach type thing.
Right. Like she's just there to mentor.
Yeah,
a little
that
bit,
could be.
to lead them.
From what I understand, she's still kind of balls, though.
Like she's 17. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She still averages 17 a game.
Nice.
Almost a double-double.
Yeah.
Listen, that's insane. Like, LeBron might do that, maybe even not. Maybe. You think?
Yeah.
I don't know if LeBron's going to make it much longer, bro.
I mean,
I've been having this debate with myself the last 2 years watching him. I think it's going to come sudden, and we're not going to expect it. I know in his past he's done more of the, eccentric kind of like loud stuff when he went the whole decision and everything, but like I feel like his body's gonna tell him no at some point.
I think he's excited for Bronny to get drafted.
He got to get out.
Oh yeah.
He's got to get out of LA and get to a young cast.
Oh yeah.
If I was him, I don't care what money is at this point.
Yeah,
get me to the Timberwolves. Get me to the Nuggets. Get me somewhere where I hate to say it, but for Bron's sake, like, get me somewhere where I don't even got to start.
Right. You got to start changing your role at this point.
I think so. And I think he and us are putting too much. I think we're like, oh, look at his 40-year-old LeBron and he can still score 30. Yeah, but then there's a handful of nights where LeBron can only score 15,
Right.
12, or he's out a
And let's
handful
think,
of
though,
nights.
15 at 39.
That's so
insane.
phenomenal.
You know what I mean?
It's insane.
Like, 15 at 39 is just crazy.
You
to
put
me.
yourself in the GOAT
He's
conversation.
definitely up there.
Now,
He's
to
definitely
me,
there.
I'm biased as hell. He won't be that because he can't be the best in his own jersey in the
Facts.
Lakers because I'm a Kobe guy. But that's me. I understand. I've actually thought about having a Kobe, Jordan,
Definitely. Oh,
LeBron
we
full
got you.
debate on here.
I'm here for that one.
I was gonna,
Oh man, I'm here.
I honestly thought about. I'm like that could be a 3-hour just absolute
Right.
debate right there. But it'd be a good one because I
Great
think and I think you could actually argue a few other people in that
one. You definitely
conversation.
can. You
I
definitely
think
can.
if you wanted to go the big man route, there's a
Oh, yeah.
couple people you could go down that route. I think if you wanted to talk pound for pound and go down that route, you could talk about guys like AI. The only thing that hinders him is no ring, right?
Right.
But
I
if you're
don't
talking
mind
pound
no
for
ring,
pound
man.
basketball player,
I mean, can
I
we
would
talk
lose
about
that
the
bet.
no rings? But then
Right.
nobody want to talk about Wilt with his 11. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like we
That's
can't,
also
we can't
true.
bring the rings into it. But yeah, we'll say that
That-
conversation.
Yeah.
that'll be a good one.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one. All right, so let's keep going on. This is another topic I want to talk about. We talk about this quite a few times, but it's something that's always evolving, something that I always want to talk about. We got numbers that are looking a little bit low in football coming out of the gates for a lot of our schools. We've got numbers that are looking low at different camps this summer. I just got word from somebody close to me that's running a camp that they're having a little bit of a hard time getting numbers. So I've asked this question before, but I like brainstorming and having the conversation. We got Coach on to discuss it too. How do we start getting the participation back up in sports? Because as a coach, I feel like I'm losing the war, but I feel like I'm going to die on the hill. Like I'm going to fight that damn thing till the very last group of kids wants to play sports. But I do see it. I'm around this stuff a lot, so I see it. I talk to a lot of programs in our community and throughout Downriver, and it's every year, man. We're just slowly watching it drop. So, I'm going through this with my football guys right now. How do we get our kids to not just sign up for sports, but to attend the stuff that they need to attend leading up to it, so to speak? How to get more kids to DSP. You know what I mean? So I like having this conversation. One thing I always say is we got to make it fun as coaches now.
Yeah.
Is no longer a day where as a coach you can show up and you can just put something out and say this is what we're doing. Right? There's no longer that day where you can say we're going to run this drill, move here, run this drill, do this, do this. Things have to be very fun. And to me, the way I do that, because you do have to have, especially in football, you have to have a pretty decent amount of seriousness and like locked in, and we can't have a lot of goofing going on and whatnot. I try to do little things in between either segments of practice. Like crazy enough, we did like rock, paper, scissors. We did like a whole team. It's called Ultimate Rock, Paper, Scissors. Everybody plays. When you lose to somebody, you have to cheer them on, so on and so forth. I love that Concordia will bring the tug of war out in the middle of the field, and they won't do that at the end of practice. Sometimes they'll stop the drills they're doing if they feel like the vibe of practice ain't great or people ain't competing. They'll blow the whistle right there, circle everyone up. We're playing tug of war on a long bag now. So that's kind of my way of how to attack it. I was just talking about today we're looking at things for the football program. I'm like, well, how can we get them outside of football for a minute? Like we got everything planned for football. Can we take them bowling? Can we go to a Mud Hens game? Can we go ride go-karts? Can we go play putt-putt? Our head coach was suggesting this stuff earlier. So that's kind of my thought. And then I hate to say it, but to me, the only other thing I can come up with for real is just the stressing the importance of it. And it's still such a battle with the phone, but stressing the importance of health, getting right. I had a couple kids come into our office yesterday. We were weighing ourselves. We had a 1 rep or 3 rep max, 1 rep max day, but we don't do the one. I don't do the old school 1 rep anymore. We try to make it a little bit easier on the kids, but we did that yesterday, had all the kids weigh themselves, had a couple kids come in and say, damn coaches, because we weighed ourselves, and they said, you guys are on this fitness kick lately, losing weight and stuff. And so, yeah, man, I I struggled for a little bit, but we back after it. So I think when they see stuff like that, and I tell them like, but also I established like the knowledge of coming to the weight room in high school and early college years. Like I established all that knowledge and that repetition in here. So I know how to go do a bench press. I know how to go do a box jump.
Right.
I know how to slam a med ball or do a backwards toss because I did all that stuff. So you got to get it here so that I tried telling them when you're 30, I'm 31. I just turned 31 about a month ago. When you turn 30 and start doing this stuff, it's a lot harder to start it. So you quit
Right.
because it's a hell of a lot
Right.
of start. So if you start it now, you're way less likely to quit. So those are kind of the couple angles I've really hammered at. But I just want to know any ideas on how we get this attendance back up.
So, me personally, I feel like if you that coach that show up for everything, the kids are gonna want to be there for you. Meaning, go to their basketball games, go to their wrestling
That's
tournaments.
big. That's
Go
deep.
to their school concerts, talk to them. So when the kids see you really care, they're gonna be dialed into you come football season. But
Great
if you're just a
message.
football coach that want to show up August, the first day before
Two
Tuffy or
days.
whatever, 2 days,
Right. Hell week.
they
Whatever.
meet, they see you and you, hey, I'm such and such. Those kids really, they don't really, And plus, we fighting this whole social media stuff now. Because when I was around, it wasn't around. Thank goodness. You know what I mean? So now we're facing that. But I feel as coaches, we got to give the kids stuff to do. And like back when I was playing, you ain't had to. Our coach wouldn't beg nobody to do anything. You either
No.
here or you're not.
Exactly.
And it's like we got to get out of that from mind frame of I'm not begging the kid to do nothing. Well, we might have to now. You know what I mean? So you're either going to do it or they're not gonna come, right? So I'm the type of coach. I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going to. I don't understand like how coaches walk through a school without seeing a kid that's tall. Like, you play football, you play basketball.
Right.
No, why not? Oh, I just don't get into it. Well, let's talk about it again next week. Every time I see this kid,
Yep.
Right.
he gonna see me one day and say, "No, coach, I'm not playing." Okay, you got to see me the next day.
Yep.
And to piggyback off of you, I'm also, I know you are too, but ask them in the moments, when you're having those conversations, what you doing, what you into?
Absolutely.
Because that's when
Absolutely.
hey man, you show up to a band concert and the kid didn't know, or you show up to this, or chess club for a day, or show up to his, whatever he's got going on or she's got going on, and all of a sudden, like you said, it's that connection is there. No, that's big points.
They want to
man.
know you care, not just
Right.
for that sport. Because most kids know kids are super smart. Which coaches, we sometimes don't think of that because we're the adult. You know what I
Right.
mean? We thinking like
Right.
I'm the coach. I coach everything the way I coach
They're
it, and
super
you don't know
smart,
anything.
though.
You're just gonna listen to what I say. Coaches, players nowadays know if you care about them.
Yeah.
They know if the first thing we talk about is football. Like, how much do you really care about me?
So I would challenge us as coaches and say we're not doing good enough.
That's
Right.
100.
That's what I would
it's
say.
on us.
I would say we are absolutely, and I agree with that. We're
Because
absolutely don't, as a whole, not doing our part.
Let's say a school like Monroe, right? Monroe is one of the biggest schools around. You got at least 1,200 kids walking in that school.
Mhm.
There's no way you don't have 60 kids on the football team. You don't have double cuts in basketball. You don't
Right.
have this
Right.
many. There's no way you don't do
You're
that with
going
that
to.
many kids walking
Right.
around, and then you get all of them the athletes. Well, so what?
That's fine. That's
That's the way. That's the ones you want, right? Because
Right.
you can mold them to be something that
Right.
That's just a big thing to me. It's like we got to be more like willing to get out our box and our shell and change what
Mhm.
we know and what we do to.
But see what's
Okay.
scary about that, and then Coach, I don't want to take away
No,
from
yeah.
your time or point either, but what scares me about that is the more we get to like the NIL, and I know that's college, but that stuff to a degree always comes down. So the more we get into this like transfer, recruit,
Right.
even recruiting in high school, all this different stuff, NIL, the harder it is, I think, for the kids to connect, and the less coaches are doing. Not you and me,
Right, yeah,
for
yeah,
us,
yeah.
but the less a lot of coaches are doing because, and I'm not gonna, obviously, I would never put nobody on blast, but
Mhm.
I know a lot of coaches who they don't even coach or they don't even coach. They build a roster.
Mhm.
They go get people and they assemble it quick. And that's kind of what they do. And that's not super uncommon, to be honest,
No.
and that happens in every sport, if I'm being real. So it's one of those things where it's like, man, that worries me because the more that stuff comes down, the less coaches are in tune. And I think coaches give up a lot because of this. They just say, screw it. The kids are on their phone. I'm just going to, tell them do this and that. And if they don't show up, whatever. And that's not a good attitude to
Right.
have. I love that point, Coach.
Yeah. And to go off what you said, I mean, they build that roster. So a lot of these kids expect to be on a
Ooh,
team.
man.
They don't like,
Yeah.
I had to try out for each one of my teams and I knew I was going to make a team. But coach made it very clear. I don't care if you were on my team last year. I don't care if you started. I don't care if we're family, friends, whatever. You're going to bust your butt through these tryouts and don't expect anything. And these kids now, they expect it.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, I think that's a lot of the reason why numbers are down because
Instant
the
gratification.
the kids
They
that
know they're not gonna.
that are like on the fence don't really know what's going to happen, and players sometimes aren't subtle with it, and they're, oh, why would you come out and like we had for tryouts this year, I think we had 33 girls total come out. My freshman year for basketball, we had 47 girls in our class come try out for basketball.
47.
40. I mean, I might be
wow.
stretching a little bit, but
No,
it was
that's
more
still-
than
that
it was
sounds-
more than
that's-
30.
Yeah, that's crazy though.
Yeah.
Even 30 plus is
Yeah, and that's how it was for each sport. So I mean,
and then the problem is too is some coaches are making empty promises.
yeah,
That's the other problem. Oh, you're gonna get playing time if you come here or you enroll or you do this
Yeah.
or
and kids get
and
let
then
down
that
once they're
creates
done.
instant
If you're a
gratification.
good coach, you ain't got to tell kids what they're gonna play.
Man,
Yeah.
facts.
You just gonna. So what I like to tell my kids when I coach, you get the opportunity. You're gonna get the opportunity to show what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you to show us what you did.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because I always talk to my guys, even at the gym. I like to stress. I ask them who believe in luck. A lot of people raise their hands, and I was like, "Well, that's not real." Look at me like, "What do you mean it's not real?" So I tell them, like, luck is when the preparation meets the opportunity.
Facts.
Yep.
How much
You
are you
create
preparing
your
when
luck.
nobody sees you?
Right.
So if you want to get lucky, you got to work like 10 times
Work to
harder
get
than the
it.
person next to you.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I mean?
facts.
So if you can do that, you're gonna create. You're gonna get a point. You'll get an opportunity at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And when
Yep.
your number is called,
You
don't
better
count
be
your
ready.
reps. Make your reps count. That's
Yeah.
what I tell them.
That's big
I'm not
time.
promising
And
nothing.
pound the stone, man.
Yeah.
Show up every day
Every
and just
day.
do the damn work.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
there with you every single day.
But
I'm
you
gonna push
do one thing I love about your training too and your coaching is you always ask that question at the beginning, which I think directs their attention right away to what they're doing and gets them locked in. Right when you start talking about why are you here, what's your why, what's your intentions, purpose, that sort of topic. That's a great
Man,
way
it's-
to get people
I-
locked
I
right
don't
in.
understand why people don't get it. It's like somebody like, how do you get these kids to buy into you and do what you want them to? I know their why.
Right.
They, what do you mean? You know,
You know,
so if
motivates
I know a kid that's going through something, his mother went through something, and I can tap into that. Like,
Yep.
what did your mother do when we had this conversation? So I remember every kid's why I ever
Mhm.
talked to. I pull them to the side. So what about your grandfather again? What's your part of your why? And you see like the light bulbs click in their head. You
Right.
see them smile in the way they talk about them. I said,
Right.
how do you think they feel about your effort right now? Like that, they change.
I love that.
I'm telling you, it's a great tool.
See, that's almost another level on what. So a lot of times with football, I'll ask kids, I'll say, it's up to you. There's a couple criteria to get on the field.
Mhm.
A is commitment. You need to be here. You can't do something if you're not here.
Right.
B is when you show up, you need to be laser focused. And then the last one is to a degree, we need you to deliver results. Now, do you need to be the best football player ever? No. Are you going to make mistakes? Hell yeah, you're a high school football player. But we need you to at least be able to step on the field and work. To me, it's about hard work. Football is even basketball. There's things you can do and positions you can play within that game where you do not have to be the most talented
Right.
person in the world.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, you don't have to be good at football. You have to be willing to work hard at football and develop yourself.
Yeah.
And we need to find something we can do with you on the field. That's for me, right? It could be maybe you have no skill, but you're just mean. You're just nasty. I can use somebody like that on the
Right.
football field, right? Maybe you're just a super smart kid and you have no physical tools right now, but you're super smart. Sweet. Well, you can learn the playbook really, really fast, and we can do some things with that as we
Right.
develop you. There's all types of ways that you can, but that's what I always tell them. But I've had that same conversation. I tell a lot of kids, I have them fill out, even at Allen Park, I have them fill out their goals, right? I want to know, not just, on the field or on the court, but I want to know off. Do you have any other goals? Just in general. I don't care what it is, just in general, because I believe what we're doing in sports is building you the character and the qualities to be able to accomplish it outside of sports, right? And that's why I think we all do this is at the end of the day is to like, I think that's what we got from sports, right? Like we learned commitment, we learned to show up, we learned all this stuff. So now we're trying to give it back. So I always ask kids, I'll say, you know, what do you want? And if a kid says, well, I want to be all region, you know, I'll come to that kid several times and say, well, one of two things has to happen if the work ethic isn't there. Either you need to lower that goal because you're not working hard to make all region, or you need to up that work ethic. 9 out of 10 times, 99% of the time, the kid understands I need to work harder and he goes after it. The other time, to be honest, if it happens, the kid wasn't really invested in the sport to begin with. And he's somebody we're probably gonna have to talk to and work with and see what he wants, see where he wants to go, what his interests are, right? And then you kind of go down that path of trying to help the kid. But that's something I ask a lot. So to piggyback, that kind of reminded me of that all the time. But I like the why, man, because that's more intention than just I want to be all region. You know, that's well, why do you want to be all region?
Use it. Next time you get with your kids, use it.
I'm going to, because I like that. And I've seen your videos. I seen you at the camp when you were asking Gabe and a couple of the guys at the camp. Actually, I think you were asking all the kids at the camp. I loved
everybody I work with.
I loved it.
That's the biggest thing we got. You know what I mean? If you can get a kid to focus on why they doing things and who in their life means that much to them.
Right.
Because what I do is I ask them, I say, what's your why? Most kids have no idea. They'll say,
they don't even know what you mean most
of the time. What do you mean? I say, I'm not answering. Just answer how you heard it. A lot of them say, I want to get better. I want to be the best football player, best basketball player, or I just want to help. I say, well, none of those work. I say, it's two things that it's not, right? It's not a sport, because the sport can be taken from you if you get in trouble, you get bad grades, you get injured. That why is gone. So now you don't have a why. I said, it can't be about yourself, because when you get tired, what's the easiest thing to do when it's about you? It's easy to quit, right? There's nobody depending on you.
Right.
So when you take yourself out of that position and put somebody in who really, really cares about you, you make them dig deep. Like, who is it? When they tell you that person, you tap into that. Every time you see them doing something, you talk about it. So a lot of times what I do, I trick them, you know what I mean? I ask them their why. We run, do a couple sprints. A couple people in that group is not running as fast as they can, right?
Right, always. So, there's always a couple that you got to coach up.
The next couple, I'll be like, all right, listen, this one is for your why. No more talking. I don't want to hear your why. I want to see your why. And I say, go. They just go all out.
Boom.
And then as soon as they're done, you ask them, why did you run hard like that? Because it was for my family. It was for my why. So I say, okay, if it's for your why do I have to stop you and say about your why? So you're not thinking that much about your why.
Love this.
So you're always making them think about their why.
I love that.
So in return, they're going to work.
Yeah.
And let's be real, that's so big, because the first point, easy point, if it's just about you, it's never going to, or money. If it's about either of those things, self or money, you're going to run out of steam and quit. And I'll be real, like not in coaching, but I learned that in a younger time in my life. I learned that through business. I just wanted to make a lot of money. The first business I ran a landscaping and maintenance company. And I just wanted to make as much money as I possibly could. I was young. I was like, let me just, you know, and you learn very fast how quick you'll run out of steam when that's the only thing you care about. And so that to me is like when people are dependent on you, or you know your intention is for people, especially those you love and whatnot, and those who, you know, look up to you, or mom, dad, whoever, like that stuff is big. And if I'm being honest, the kids, earlier you said it, kids are smart. They know adults. I'll be real with you. Kids know adults are lost.
Oh yeah.
They know as a society right now we tore up. They are not dumb. They know that, because a lot of them hate to say it, but they're not getting the proper parenting.
Right.
So of course they know the adults are messed up. So to me, starting that young so that we can raise a generation of people who are intentional, know what they want to do, and know why they want to do it. Like that's why we coach. That's what we're doing, man. That's beautiful. Like for real, I genuinely mean that. That's why we coach. That's the key point. Is we are in my eyes, we are responsible along with parents for how this goes in the future. For if we can turn our society, like right now, I think us coaches and parents, and shout out to all the good ones, we're genuinely either going to shape this to get worse and keep crumbling, or we're going to shape it and turn a corner. And I feel like the more people that get together like this, have conversations, put it out there, the more people that listen, the more people that we get on board and bring on the show or go out in public and have conversations with, coaching clinics, all that stuff. That is more of us kind of bringing that awareness and turning the corner. And I think that's big. We got a lot of young coaches nowadays, and them coaches need to hear that too, of, do things to pull out of the kids what, our job as a coach is to get kids where they couldn't get themselves. Now, that does not mean just sports.
Right.
That means a kid may need you he may need you to feed him that day.
Right.
They may need you to do whatever. Feed them, give a ride. Like, they may need a friend to talk to because something just happened to mom, dad, sister. They need us, right? So to me, young coaches got to hear that message. That's a great message, man. I love that. We got a couple more topics. We've been going for about an hour already, but I could talk about this stuff forever. This is a transition. So I don't want to go on a rant, but I'm about to go on a rant.
Yeah,
So we had this talk about society just now, kids, society, participation in sports, all that. So and I love my daughter, but my daughter comes home and she talks to me about field day. And field day, from what I have now heard,
oh my God,
and y'all gonna call me crazy. This is what is wrong with society today. Field day is now food and balloons and bubbles and carnival rides, and where and when did the real, like, I genuinely looked at her and was like, where's the real stuff for field day? And she was like, that is field day. And I was like, no, like, where's the real field day? Like, I was confused, genuinely lost. Like, I was like, I don't get it. This is a carnival.
Yeah.
So when did field day go away? And I'm not going to lie to y'all, like, on a crazy deep level, that day I sat and went down a rabbit hole thinking for about an hour. And I was like, this is part of why we are.
It's kind of depressing.
This is bad. Our kids need field day back, to the point where I was like, I'm about to throw a Monroe County field day.
Literally.
Somewhere at a location where we can centralize and have all the schools come. We're about to do our own Monroe County field day. We'll have the schools face each other. We'll do potato sack races. We'll do the whole thing. I could not believe it, man. But genuinely, not to keep going on, but genuinely was like pissed off. Like, y'all took away a lot, and now you taking away field day, and I'm not about it. Field day needs to come back fast.
My kid was he's in the first, just graduated from the first grade, and I was so excited to go to his like young fives field day.
About to be hyped.
I was like, oh intense. Yeah, because he's fast and he's agile, and I'd come out, they're doing water bucket races. And I'm like, what?
That's what I'm saying.
I was like, I took the day off of work I was
to go watch y'all blow balloons up and make balloon animals.
This is cool. So they did the little egg on the spoon race, and that was about the only. I said, no. Where's the relay races? Like when we were in school, Mr. Rankins used to have us out there.
Stop babying the kids on. Let them compete and let them have fun. What one of us looks back today, honest to God, who looks back today and says, damn, I'm really just in a bad place because of what happened to me on field day because I got third place? Nobody.
No.
Everybody loved field day, regardless of whether you got the little 5th place ribbon. You was like, I love field day.
Yeah. Like I seen the picture surface on Facebook recently.
Yeah.
They had like the ribbons. The colors. And I was just messing around. I'm like, man, I didn't even know they had anything other than blue.
Same.
Right?
Same.
Because blue was always first place. But listen, Lincoln Leopards, bro, like that was like our Super Bowl. That
over at Lincoln?
Oh my goodness. So it used to be real. We would bring all our chairs out and set them along the side.
Like you would prepare. You went to bed early. Like that was for real.
Bedtime early. Mom, don't you know it's 8:45? It's getting close to bedtime.
I had friends over tonight. Like I need to get in bed.
It's big competition tomorrow.
Listen.
But actually, I do got some news. I don't know if I should, if I can share, but I'm going to. My guy Tony Anderson, right?
Okay.
At Tiger's Gym.
Yeah, Tiger. Yeah.
We're putting together a field day.
Period.
Oh, shout out!
It's probably,
see, I ain't even gonna step on no toes now. I'm glad you said it though.
It's gonna be at Monroe.
Let him rock
talking
that.
What's his, Coach Foley, Mr. Foley.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Tony gonna sit down and go over some stuff. So we're gonna bring it back. It's gonna be countywide.
Do
Good.
this.
So we definitely gonna do it. I'm gonna let you know.
Yes,
we
do
might
this,
need you to help out
because
with it.
I will come help you set up.
Bet,
I will cheer
bet.
the event on,
Yeah.
whatever. I just
We-
want to
we
be
want it
there
back.
and
We
see
want
it.
back.
I just
We
want to
want
see
it
it back in its glory,
We
Coach.
want it back.
That's
Listen,
man,
We
that's
gotta have
great.
it back because this field that they do.
Listen,
now,
it's a joke.
Listen, we can talk after and whatnot, and down the road, but like make that happen, Coach.
oh, it's
For real.
happening.
Like make
It's-
that happen.
We just had a Zoom call the other day. So
That is
it's-
incredible.
It's gonna happen.
Solid.
See, and
Toward the
that's
end of July. Toward the end of-
crazy. We brought this
That's
topic
crazy.
up.
That's why I was like, we said.
I
something,
couldn't
I'm like,
believe it. It's the picture that you shared. I saw that and I was like, oh yeah, field day sweet. And then my daughter came home like last week and was talking about it and told me everything that was going on. And I was like, yeah, I'm not really a fan of this new
No.
field day format. We gotta, like, this comes back to earlier. We gotta stop babying the
Yes, we do.
kids. Like, we
let them
gotta
know losing
stop.
is okay.
Yeah.
Failure's okay.
It's
Yeah.
all
Like,
right.
if you don't win, it's
That's
okay. Get
fine.
better.
Yeah.
And to be real, teach them the truth. You're
Teach
going to
'em the
learn a
truth.
hell of a lot more. I hate to say it because I hate losing like the next
Right.
person. But you are going to learn a hell of a lot more in losing and in
Absolutely.
failures in your life than you are. The
Absolutely.
people who don't go through anything and kind of just skate by,
Yeah.
all it takes is one minor issue to collapse their entire life. And
Yeah.
I hate saying it like that because God
is.
bless
No,
everybody,
Right.
but
no, you're
it's
absolutely right.
one, and I hate to say it, but we as coaches, we go through a lot,
Right.
from parents to the administrators to the opposing coaches to
Yeah.
the teams. Like, we have a lot. We as parents, we go through a lot. As business owners, we go through a ton.
I'm
And
starting to see that now.
if
Yeah.
you can't like stomach some of that shit because you've been through something, like, you are going to struggle.
Yeah.
Couple more topics. We'll transition to stay in high school sports, and then we got one more topic after. It's actually both stay in high school, but men's volleyball added to Michigan. I love it personally,
That's
but I'm
exciting.
a,
I love
I'm
it.
a volleyball
I'm gonna say as
guy,
a-
right? So I love coaching. The last 3 years at Allen Park has given me a whole different view of volleyball and kind of the actual game and how intense it is and how, like, volleyball is insane.
Yeah.
They're athletically insane. It's, for a long time, we've had that argument on this podcast actually 3-4 times about what the hardest position to play in sports is in any sport and who the best
Absolutely.
athletes are. And we've had that debate, a couple times, but I would argue that all day that volleyball, as far as the way they move and
Yeah.
athleticism, they're up there with any sport. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But men's volleyball coming soon to high school, so that's kind of big news. Don't know, obviously it kind of depends on resources, how many teams get it and whatnot. But what do you guys think of having volleyball here for the
love it.
men?
Same.
I love it. We used to when I was at Lincoln, we had a volleyball team, boys volleyball.
Okay, really?
Back at Lincoln, yeah.
Damn, y'all was
Yeah.
just
We had
man,
everything.
y'all was
We
just back
had
here living it up
I'm telling
at
you,
Lincoln.
we had
Shout out
Mr.
to
We
Lincoln.
had
Us,
Mr. Rankin.
Mr.
Shout out to
Rankin's
Mr.
got
Rankin.
Ray, shout out to
Exposed
him.
us to
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
You went there too?
I did.
All the best athletes went to Lincoln.
Yep.
Trust
I
me.
guess so.
We used to smack everybody because we used to our basketball, like intramural basketball,
Mhm.
not
Right.
the way it is. It's terrible, but
Yeah.
we used to actually. You go to whatever school you play, like Lincoln, we'd go to Manor,
Yeah.
Right.
we'd go to
okay.
Razorville, and we used to beat people by 50.
Yeah.
Like we wasn't. It was like we wouldn't plan.
I've heard that
Bro,
though,
trust
that there was
We used to get beat
I've
in
heard a lot
baseball
of
all the
people that
time.
are like coaches and
everything else-
athletes.
Basketball, volleyball, we used to just.
That's crazy.
Stomp
it.
Lincoln used to be the spot.
Bro, I'm telling you, like Mr. Rankins had us right because
Prepared.
we used to do things in gym class that high school coaches don't even
Yeah.
do. With
I don't
kids.
mean to ask it on air, but like, is he still around?
No,
No, he died.
He passed away.
Yeah.
Condolences.
Summer Rankins, yeah.
Gotcha.
That's
Oh,
gym te-
From the
yeah.
garden.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
that's
two
gym
and two
teacher
together. Got you.
Yep.
Yep. Shout out to him. That's amazing.
He still owe me like 10 candy bars. How
and some
many owe you?
McDonald's. Oh man.
So he used to tell us he'd give us some candy bars if we do something, right?
Yeah.
It used to be this pole. If you jump and grab the pole and touch the pole, you get a candy bar.
Coach, I have a confession though. I owe like 6 kids Gatorades right now, 7 kids. I'd be like, hey, I get the winner a Gatorade, and then the
Listen, it
next
works.
day
It
forget
keeps
to
them
go get the
engaged.
Gatorade.
It keeps them
Other
engaged
way.
and
So I am a big reward system guy.
Yeah.
To tap back on that earlier, I do even sometimes fun stuff, right? Like 2-a-days is a long week. Can we have a good practice and we can jump out an hour early and barbecue? Can we just get it the best 2 hours, 3 hours y'all can give? We'll cut it down from 4 today. We'll get that last hour. We'll all go break bread, cook, have food, hang out, stuff like that. I'll even do that from time to
Yeah.
time if I
Yeah.
feel the vibe needs it. I feel like last season we went through a tough season, man. And taking over the defense in August was rough, and then
Oh, yeah, it's rough.
like it was so trying to keep things like fun, and I learned a lot. Like I shifted a little bit more from military business practice style to like we really got to lighten it up and have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't have fun before, but there was a certain
Yeah.
point in the year where I was like, you stressing too much about implementing
Mm-hmm.
defenses and stuff and not having enough fun, and you got to have fun. Same as a coach is like, I'll be honest, when the kids ain't having fun, most of the time we ain't having
Right.
fun.
Yeah.
So when they're
Right.
having fun,
Right.
we're having fun, and it's like, you know, that sort of thing. But what do you think about volleyball?
I love it. You know, volleyball is my number one. When I found out I was pregnant and I was having a boy, I was I was sick. I was so upset, and I was like, "Dang, well." But no, this is
Well,
good.
now
I know.
he's young too, so
yeah,
now by
I
the
mean,
time
and they got like AAU teams for
Yeah.
boys
Right.
and stuff now. So, but yeah, no, I was like, "Dang, man!" Like
I never understood why it wasn't more popular both genders
'Cause
for it. Like I never really understood.
I think it's more of a like a
But I don't know where
people
the
think
origins.
that volleyball's a girly sport.
a girly sport.
Yeah, sure.
But ain't nothing better than see a dude get up and spike.
Oh
them.
my
Like,
gosh.
over
But
the
I'm
net,
like-
looking down.
Oh my
Yeah, I'm like,
goodness.
do y'all know the
That's
athleticism
insane.
that's
It's
required?
wild.
Insane.
It's
I love it. I can't wait to watch it.
I've watched like the I don't know if it's like sand volleyball or
Sand.
whatever, but they've have the men's division too, and I'm like, dude, them
Yeah.
guys are absolutely built
Yeah.
like athletes. Like, good luck.
They are.
Yeah.
Some of them dudes could probably come play some other sports
Yeah.
for real. Because
Yes, they
Yeah.
can.
I still
That's-
play. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
And I've basically transitioned from co-ed strictly from women's ball because it's still so exciting. It's still so competitive. I think
Where at?
downriver we were in Flat Rock, but that league moved to the Taylor Sports Complex, which
Yeah.
but the men on my team, they're 45-ish. Those dudes still get up. It is it's just insane. So I love
This dude
it.
damn near 50 years
Yeah,
old.
still
He's out here
jumping, like,
killing
this
it.
high out the gym. Yeah,
Hey,
no.
I think it's sweet you still play. That's
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing. I mean I walk and stuff, but that's the only thing
Yeah,
I
but that's
do to work
crazy.
out.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's crazy because I bet by the time you leave, you'd be feeling absolutely
Oh my
destroyed
gosh.
after some volleyball.
it's
like,
horrible.
Ice on the knees type of stuff
Mhm.
when you get older.
You
Leaving
gotta-
like, let me just get this ice.
Ibuprofen before the game,
Yeah.
in between game. Yeah, no, it's a lot.
I don't jump in with my kids without planning on that. As soon as I know I'm about to jump in on some drills, like I went yesterday and jumped in. We were running some defensive stuff. I was giving them a look at receiver, and I knew as soon as I started running, I was like, I am going to hurt
Oh, yeah.
when I leave here
Yeah.
today. Volleyball, thinking of that, I'm like, y'all playing sand or hard court?
Hardcore. I don't.
Okay.
I usually sub and sand. Sand is not.
Sand's a different ball
It's a
game
whole
too.
different.
It's hard to
animal.
work in sand, and
Oh,
I train people in
love
sand
that.
every once in a
Sand.
while. I wish we had sand closer somewhere.
Munson.
Oh, Munson's
Volleyball.
got.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
See,
get
I'll
it.
go to Vivian every once in a while over by Frenchtown
Okay.
because they got the little volleyball court there too. But they, to be honest, and no disrespect to Frenchtown, but y'all need to clean the weeds up and stuff out there at the
Yeah.
volleyball court.
Munson has a,
It's getting pretty overgrown
a
out
league
there.
now, so they got
Okay.
the sand
Yeah,
and stuff
they-
in there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I was
that's
over
where
there
always
the
go
other
do my
day.
stuff at.
See, that's
Yeah.
fun right there.
Go to the hill. We leave the hill, then we go do some footwork over
And
the
doing the
sand.
sand. See that right
Yeah.
there is incredible. All right, last topic. So one thing I saw Max Preps the other day, I posted it. Love this idea. I just wanted to get a couple thoughts how we could do it. Is it possible? High school games between districts during the school day. I loved that idea when I saw it on Max Prep. So think about Monroe and Bedford play a basketball game at 1 o'clock in the
okay. Yeah, no,
afternoon.
that'd
You know how lit
Whole
that'd be?
school in the
You know how
gymnasium.
lit that would be.
that'd be-
Crazy.
Yeah, no, that'd be.
I don't. So my only argument would be honestly for football. That's the only one that I don't know. Football is a weird sport, man, where you like to
like
preserve that
lights.
Friday night.
Yeah.
It
Like,
ain't nothing like Friday Night Lights.
Never.
yep.
You
We've
can't.
had a couple Saturday 1 p.m. games the last few years, and I hate it.
I don't think I would like
hate
to
it.
do the football
Mm-mm.
one.
Football's
But
but basketball.
basketball,
Yeah.
Could you
you-
imagine a gym, a Monroe Bedford or a Ida Mason or
Let the kids
Exactly.
out early to
Yeah.
come. Oh my!
with the whole
goodness.
school in the
Oh.
stands?
Cause Monroe got the room.
Insane.
You ever seen the Monroe High School with all the bleachers out?
No, I actually haven't.
Man,
Actually,
back in the
maybe
day,
one
we
time.
used to play CC.
back in the day when they was playing, and
all 4 bleachers
All floor
on
bleachers
the
on the
bottom
top,
and the
very
whole
top, so
thing.
all the way
See,
back.
I've only used to go hoop. I used to go hoop in there with Blaine Whitlow
Okay.
and
Yeah.
and Junior.
Yeah.
I used to go hoop with them guys in there, but yeah, that was the only time I've never actually seen.
Oh,
once-
it-
once
So you could fit the
crazy.
schools in there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, easy.
See, could you
Easy.
imagine though, like
Easy.
how? I think you could just do it home and away.
Mhm.
Give Monroe the home and then go to Bedford
Yep.
and do it. I think that
That'd be lit.
I was blown by that
That'd
idea.
be nice.
I was like, Max Preps, good for you for
Yeah.
posting that.
That'd
I'm gonna
be
share
great.
that. I
That'd be
think
great.
if anybody's listening and you can make that happen, I don't know
Do
how
it.
Make it
administrators could do
Yeah.
that. You know, if Chet's tuning in or you know, my AD, Mr. Hayes, if you're watching, let's go ahead and get that done, man. Because
Make it
I don't
happen.
know. I thought about it, like, why haven't we, or what would be the hard parts, or I don't really know if it would be that challenging. You're talking about letting kids out of school an hour early. You're going
Right.
to do that for field trips and different
I think
things.
the only thing is being that it's during the school day is the whole safety thing with the generation of
Right.
school
There's
shooting,
a lot of different
all
stuff
that
going
crazy
on.
stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You gotta, but still, like, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yep. See, I have a hard time toggling with that whole thing because I'm like, I feel like only the paranoid survive, but I also feel like we also have to live, right? We got to
Yeah,
do
right.
things. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's
I'm
hard.
over
And
all
I
that.
learned that during COVID,
Yeah.
right? Where I got about 2 weeks into the whole like flatten the curve thing, and I was like, yo, I'm not sitting at home every day. This
It
ain't
was
working.
hard.
This is
It was
not
hard.
working. So I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't like out there doing everything, but I was like, I'm gonna, you know, for a while they're telling you not to even go outside. I'm like, dude, I'm going for a
outside.
Yeah.
walk.
I'm
I'm
Yeah.
going outside. You know, I'm going to the trails to walk. If the
Yeah.
guy over here walks by me, I think we'll be okay. He's
No,
10
we
feet
are.
away.
Yeah.
But that, you know, that sort of thing. But I think, man, the safety thing, I definitely understand. But I think if they could do it, try it somewhere small
So the
first.
only thing you need to do to safety thing is just make everybody do a background check a couple days before. So everybody who want to come, all your parents first,
Right.
they just get
Right.
cleared, and it's just gonna be more work for the administration.
Right.
So what?
And
You know what I
put an
mean?
extra hire.
Exactly.
We all have liaison officers.
Bring
Put them
both
on
of 'em.
duty.
Right.
Bring
Bring
another
the one
guy.
from the Bedford and one from Monroe. You
Right.
guys, Bedford guys, you know your people.
Yep.
You control
Right.
your people. Monroe, you know your people. You control
Yep.
your people. CC.
Right.
Let's make it
Have your
happen.
ADs
Yeah.
there,
Man,
and
let's
then we
make it
can.
happen.
Man, so I don't know who I need to talk to push that, but I'm about to get in somebody's ear and just
Yeah.
send emails like, let's do it, man. It'd be
Right.
fun.
I mean, what's the worst
We
that happen,
got-
right?
You got things going on downriver all the time. You know, we just got invited to do, we're playing a team from Flint the first week, and they invite us to do like some kind of car classic football game or something that they've been doing for years. And they do it on a random, like, I think it's like a Saturday or a Thursday night instead of Friday and different. So I'm like, if we can maneuver and do different
Right.
things, we can put a between district. Plus, I think the kids would be high.
Yes.
The
Can you
kids
imagine
would
playing
be
in front of your whole student body?
and playing
Literally.
your big district rival or
And
something.
then you can have it to where if you got any missing homework, you can't come
That's
to the
what.
game.
Or they used to. There was a
Ooh.
rumor. My volleyball coach used to be principal
Mhm.
over at Bedford, and they said that he used to give them extra credit if they came to the.
And
Games.
you should. You give them extra credit. So,
So
you get
Bedford
the,
would
Yes.
fill up the stands.
I love that.
Yeah.
and then
Camaraderie,
Yeah.
school spirit,
Yeah.
just really commitment to a
Yeah.
degree.
Yeah.
Our kids, I've noticed that too. They're not as proud of where they go to
Mhm.
school a lot of the time. And I
Yeah.
think while a lot of schools do obviously have issues, I think there's a lot to be said for where
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of good schools in our county still,
Oh,
and a
yeah.
lot of people
Yeah.
still doing things the right way. And I think there's still positivity. I'm also the guy who posts on Facebook every day that the future looks bright. So everything I look at is try to,
You got
it's
to.
too
Yeah.
much. I was kind of the middle guy for a long time. And now there's so much of like negative shit with coaching, with kids, with our society, where I literally have to like tune it out and just focus on like what's good and
Yeah.
what can
Yeah,
we
you
make
got to.
better. I can't even like, that stuff is so, man, it gets overwhelming if you
Mhm.
start, listening to anything going on in the world or politics or our kids or, the old times versus new times or any of that. I'm like, how about what do we do well and what can we do better? I'll
Right.
just stick over there. But all right, we'll do a couple quick things real quick. I got to give a shout out to our athletes of the week. The first one, she's been on here like 4 times. I don't know what this girl's numbers are for the year, but she's absolutely insane on the mound. Unity Nelson from Whiteford softball had 29 strikeouts in 2 games to lead her team to the regional finals. I think there's some regional games going on today, from what I understand.
Airport and Milan.
I think Airport and Milan are getting. I think they're probably
I think they
done by
play
now,
earlier in
or-
the day. Yeah.
So I don't know who won that. I'd have to check on that. But Unity Nelson is like a 3-time winner of the Athlete of the Week here. She's been crushing it this season. Shout out to you, Unity. Landon, I'm gonna butcher your last name, Landon Congeal. Carlson Golf. He had a 2-day total of 157 in the Division I state golf final. So
Nice.
to me, to even make it in a top 10 or a top 5 of a Division I state final,
Yeah.
that's impressive to me. So shout out to him. He did his thing. Honorable mentions, Kennedy Kroll, Airport softball. She had 5 hits and played a great defensive game to win the regional championship. And then Haley Knox, Milan softball, had 2 home runs and a double to win their regional championship. And then obviously those 2 were meeting up today. So our 2 athletes of the week. On this day in sports, in 1959, Charlie Sifford was the first African-American to play in the U.S. Open. And in 1990, Nolan Ryan threw his 6th no-hitter. So those were the 2. Every week I try to, I'm not going to lie, a lot of it's garbage. It'll be like, this team won their 35th game of the season. I'm like, nobody gives a
Right.
damn about that. But we try to find things that were monumental, record-breaking, different things like that. So on this day was those two events. Guys, I appreciate you guys coming on. Next week, we're back. I don't know if Coach will be back on or not next week, but you guys can see him throughout. I honestly don't know who we have on next week, so I'm not going to announce it right now. But actually, no, I do. Coach Keith Barbie, offensive line coach. He was at Orchard Lake St. Mary's last year. His business is Hogs Gone Wild. He works with O-line and D linemen. Big fellas, if you need some work specifically for O-line, he's a ways away, but if you're downriver, he's a guy. If you're in the Metro Detroit area, he's a great guy to go work with. He's coming on. Super nice guy, super funny. Looking forward to having him come talk some football next week. We're going to talk football numbers. We'll talk all types of stuff. But appreciate you guys coming on. This was a great conversation, and we'll see you guys next week.